So in this tutorial, we're going to populate our inventory container with the corresponding picture that has to do with the item, right? So by the end of this, we should have a health potion show up here because that's what's in Bob's inventory. Last time, however, we also started populating we populated all of the empty slots in Bob inventory we told the software to basically create one of our empty objects there. For this one, now, however, for the filled sections, we have to do this a little bit differently. You see, we always know what object is going to be created if the slot is empty. It's always going to create this empty object that we created down here, okay? But we don't always know what's going to be in a slot that's filled with a 1. So software, like programs, don't really like uncertainty. And that's why we're going to have to return to this bit of code that we used in a previous tutorial. And I sort of flubbed the explanation of what it means. And I think it's important enough for you to understand what's going on here that I'm going to try to explain it one more time. Essentially, this is equal to this. And here's how. The software wants to see something straightforward like this. Basically, if we go to Bob's inventory, let's go there now actually. If we go to Bob's inventory and go to slot 1, we find that slot 1 is filled, and it's filled with the ItemID item number 4, which is this up here. It's a health potion. Okay. So we're telling the program to go ahead and input, go to the items inventory, then go to item number 4, the item ID 4, and then from the value that's in pick, underneath that, create an object called health potion and put it in the inventory container. Again, this would be great if we knew that we always were going to have a health potion in slot 1, but we don't. So how do we give the computer certainty without actually knowing what's in there ourselves? That's where this comes in. What we're telling the software to do with this line of code is go to items, just like here. Then the part that we don't know is this. See, we need to get this information, which here is 4. We need to get this information from Bob's inventory slot, in this case slot 1. And we're saying go to Bob's inventory slot 1 and get the item ID from it, which is 4. And then get the value of the items.4.pick and create an object from that. I hope that helps out a little bit here. I'll try to remember to post this bit of code in the comment section so you can copy and paste it. But let's go ahead and copy that here and then go into our inventory 1 slot that's filled. And we'll go to common actions for all objects. And then we're going to do create an object from its name. And let's choose from our grouping, which is items here. Here's where we control V paste this in. And then for our X position, it's like what we've been doing this whole time basically. Common expressions, position, X position, and then we need of the inventory container. Hit apply. And then we have to plus the offset of our global variable that we set up of slot 1 pick X. Here it is. Remember, don't use text X, use pick X. This is for the picture, slot 1. And then let's go ahead and copy this and paste it into the Y and then change these to Ys. And make sure you change the layer to inventory. All right. So let's see how this is working actually. Let's do a test. Nothing there. Now when something usually doesn't show up on the screen, it's because of a Z order problem. So let's go try to take care of that right now. Let's add the Z order here. Let's copy that and paste it in. Let's do 521. And we actually have to go in here. And again, we don't know what the object is that actually needs the Z order. So we can actually do a, let me go back in here. Sorry about that. Let me go back in and get this here. We need this bit of code again. Go back into our Z order and let's do that. And let's see if that solved our problem. Doesn't like it. You know, the Z order thing sometimes can get a little bit wonky here. Let's try something. Let's collapse this for a second. And let's add, let's see what happens when we change the Z order out here instead. Let's see if that does it. Yep, okay. So for whatever reason, it doesn't like, where is it? For whatever reason, it does not like doing the Z order here. So let's do all of our Z orders down here then. Let's do a copy, paste, and let's do a Z order for the sword. And we'll do one more Z order for our empty. And what we may end up doing is we may end up just creating a, let's do a trigger once because we don't want this to run the whole time. Let's see if that still works. Yeah, it does. Okay. So, what went wrong? Well, I think maybe it was moving so quickly through here that, excuse me, it was bypassing, it was creating the object without the Z order. And without a Z order, it wasn't going to show up on the screen. So we had to do the Z order separately down here and make it trigger once at the very end of creating all of these objects. So we created these objects and then we gave them a Z order afterwards. That's basically what happened here. Let's see. It's not going to work in the kingdom, I bet, though. Let's try. No. And I have a suspicion for why that is. I don't believe that the grouping that we made carried over to the kingdom. And I was right. So let's rename this like we did before. Let's call it items, and let's add our items to the grouping. There's some good news, by the way, at the end of all of this. When we get into the next set of tutorials, and we talk about really expanding Bob's world into multiple kingdoms and multiple rooms and everything, there's going to be a nice, easy way to take all of this stuff that we did and move it over. So let's try this and see if that's enough to fix it. Yep, okay, so that fixed that. Now we just have to keep going for the rest of these. We have to copy and paste. It's actually pretty simple now. Let's copy from slot 1 field, go to slot 2 field, and let's change these to 2s. Come down here, slot 3, change these to 3s. Slot 4, and slot 5. Okay. Let's see how that did. Should still look pretty much the same, actually. Right. So let's have some fun. Let's change the inventory. Let's go to our project manager, global variables, and let's go to Bob's inventory. Let's change it up a little bit. Let's say that slot 1 is actually empty. It's got nothing in it. Let's go to slot 2. Let's say that slot 2 has the bowel obstructor, and we're going to put slot 4 we're going to have as the health potion. So apply, and let's see what happens. Look at that. There they are. And there they are. So we now have an inventory container that matches the inventory of our character.